Hello, welcome again to episode 5 of season 2 of the Club Racing UK podcast. Dancing below me is Nick Holmes as part of the gruesome twosome that is Club Racing UK's Nick Holmes and Stefan Marsh. And for the first time, we've got a returnee guest. He decided he didn't get enough crap the first time, so he's come for a big shovel the second time round. Paul Harvey of Icon Events joins the show. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
All the better for seeing your beautiful face.
Thank you. I've got the lighting rig out again just for you, Nick.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm loving. You're glowing this evening.
Thanks. Yeah. Can make it warmer or cooler, however you need, mate. That's what it is.
There we go.
Oh, I like it. For our podcast listeners, Paul has a very professional lighting setup, and he makes us look very amateur. So tune into the YouTube video to take a look.
I need all the help I can get, mate.
Exactly. Already, guys. Matt Clary and Frank Frostick are listening in. Good evening, guys. Jonathan Bevan is also tuning in. Good evening, all. I will get to the comments at some point tonight. Now, the first thing I actually want to say, and it's going to be on behalf of the three of us, is not actually in the script, but it's a follow-on from the last 2 weeks. When we finished, I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely astonished as to how many people tuned in to actually join in and be a part of that debate. So it's our thanks to you for doing that, because at the end of the day, you guys are the reason we make this show. So from all of us...
It's money. That's the only reason we do it.
Is it?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We get no money.
Then.
I was going to say, Nick.
No, it's definitely not money. It's for you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick, bloody hell, where's my check?
I watched in on that, guys, and that was a great debate last week. Really topical, lots of interaction. It was great viewing, so well done.
I think the last time I checked, after 2 days, I think we got up to about 8,500 people had watched it. It's like, what?
That was just on Facebook. I think Twitch got a lot of viewers as well. YouTube's got a few. So, once again, guys, thank you so much. You guys are the reason we're doing it. And it's going to be one of those things. We're going to be doing some serious shows all throughout the year. So if you do have anything you want to bring to us to shout it out to the masses, we will do that for you.
As long as it's racing related.
As long as it's racing related, yeah. Anything to do with Nick's news, we have set up a complaint line as well. We'll give you to that later on in the show. Andrew Banthorpe joins us as well. Jonathan Bevan, like I said, is already on it with the commenting this evening. So I think we're fully set up now. So let's dive in to the news roundup. If we could play the video.
A little bit of wee in the end of my knob.
That never ceases to stop being funny. It really doesn't.
I think when we get to season 10, episode 52, I still think that'll be funny. I do.
I mean, just quickly, Nick, do you want to explain what that clip is from?
So that was going, I think it was Ford Power Live. I was sat in the KA, obviously in the assembly area, ready to go racing. And I'm sure every person who is watching, you 2, 3 included, you just get that little bit of a nervous wee at the end of your bits. And that's all that was.
There we go.
I just vocally told the entire paddock that I needed a little wee. That was all.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. All square wrap and ride. Chris and Vicky Pratt join us. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Good evening, sponsors.
Yes, good evening,
sponsors.
Jonathan Bevan, just want to pass on best wishes to Vic Hope, who's in hospital after he had a bad reaction to his jab. Top club racer, he is. And the Barwell Motorsport team. So get well soon, Vic. Hopefully you're tuning into us this evening in a nice, comfy NHS bed, being looked after by lots of gorgeous nurses. Andrew Butcher joins us as well. Okay, male and female. I'll keep it PC. Andrew Butcher.
I don't know what side his bread is buttered, so yeah, you have to assume that.
That's one way of putting it, I suppose. Andrew Butcher, evening boys, just got in, beer time. Phil Neal joins us as well. That's going to be trouble. Okay, so to the news roundup, and I'm afraid this week it's probably going to be mostly me telling you that this club's decided to move some date changes. So let's start with Mark.
Isn't it easier to list who hasn't changed their dates?
Well,
No.
the one, yeah, I mean, the one thing I have noticed, Bark and 750 Motor Club have both announced a new Silverstone date, and it's the 24th and 25th of April. One thing I noticed. So whether they're going to be doing a dual meeting or I've missed something, if I have missed something, stick it in the comments. But
one of them on the Saturday, one of them on the Sunday?
Well, no, both the races were due to be
full weekends.
Double headers, full weekends. So Bark obviously announced a new Silverstone date moving to 24th, 25th. That affected the Classic Touring Car Racing Club and such, among others. And then 750 Motor Club, that was the one that came in yesterday, and they moved the Silverstone meeting from the 3rd and 4th of April to the 24th and 25th. So I can only assume at that point there's going to be some more information for that coming in as well.
You know what we could do? Fight! Let's get them on the show, and they'll fight, and whoever wins gets that race weekend.
Although, to be fair, they have run dual race meetings at Silverstone before, one on the international, one on the national. So you set them up, have a big fight, massive punch-up, maybe a few knives in there. Whoever wins gets the bigger circuit, and the other ones have to go on the puny one.
If there's knives involved, the full club's there, aren't they? So.
Oh, well, there we go.
True, they need the smaller circuit.
True. Bark truck racing meeting at Brands Hatch has been rescheduled to the weekend of June 5th and 6th. I do have that on reports that has greatly inconvenienced one celebrity, Ian Waterhouse, who's decided to get his hair done just before the Brands Hatch truck meeting, but he's having a bit of trouble trying to get a hairdresser's appointment in before June now. So we'll let you know how that goes, Mr. TV and everything.
Yeah.
He'll have his own makeup and hair staff anyway, won't he?
I think so.
He does.
I was going to say, being a celebrity, he's probably worth a few quid now, so he's probably got
entourage.
Well, yeah, exactly. Carl Hitchin, Patrick Seal, Jamie Goff have all joined us as well.
Evening all.
Evening all. Right, let's roll on with more cancellations. This is a pain in the arse. Time Attack have moved their round at Cadwell Park, and that is going to be moved further from May due to the road map restrict. But basically what it all boils down to, they don't like the fact they're not going to have crowds. I'm not speaking just about Time Attack one, it's all of them. They don't like the fact they're not going to have crowds, and they don't like the fact that the hotel stays might be a bit iffy. But
I have seen that a lot. A lot of people are, well, for a lot of people, they're out. You can't, not everyone lives a stone's throw away from a racetrack. So,
yeah.
I mean, even we're like, you know,
but the hotels are open if your class is working. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such. It's same as the elite testing, though, Steph. It's what do you class as what?
It doesn't mean you have to be working. I'm just saying you can get a hotel room if your class is working.
Right. Okay.
But I, to be fair, I did see something somewhere. If someone can find the actual official write-up of this, I can't remember where I saw it, but I think if you provide your own means of accommodation and you're only with your household, you can still do it. But obviously, that's if you've got private land and own a motorhome, you're fine.
So you can camp in the garden then?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Technically, yes, but it all boils down from that. They set across the roadmap, and of course, Motorsport of UK have gone, fuck yeah, let's go racing from the 29th of March or whatever it was. Unfortunately,
wait, we've got nowhere to do a poo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stay over.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's what it boils down to, really, doesn't it? Obviously, circuits can't have people stay over because then they have to open up facilities for people to stay there, And obviously that goes against the rulings and things like that. So I think that's where you can get away with having your own accommodation. So if you own an estate car, I mean, you can try in a hatchback, but it's quite small. Take a bucket. You're well away.
I didn't quite do the bucket, but I have kept in the estate car. It's quite comfy if you can get a double bed in there. But
Racing UK top tip right there. Take
a bucket.
To be fair, he said that you can pick one up for 97p as you walk into the doors of B&Q. Just for now.
If there is a sudden influx of buckets being bought from B&Q now, that'd be good. Send us a photo of you using your bucket.
That's it.
Yeah, don't hashtag it for fuck's sake. Oh my god!
No,
hashtag show us your bucket. I don't think so.
The bucket challenge.
The bucket challenge, or hashtag Club Racing UK told me to do it.
Exactly. Nick's just trying to find out how many different ways you can get banned temporarily from social media.
Oh yeah, should we?
I was going to say the last time that happened, Nick, it didn't take long, and you didn't even show any wiener. I was well disappointed.
I know, right? It's amazing how touchy people of social media land are these days. Don't even have to show anything.
Yeah, I mean, Carl Hitchin, rough it up in the back of a van. To be fair, mate, I think most people are going to do that, aren't they?
It's just where'd you park? Are they going to let you in the circuit, or are you going to have to lay by it?
I can't see them letting you in the circuit. I don't know.
No, I doubt it, because they'll know what they're up to. That's the problem. Right, let's move on from that. Arts tests are apparently not being officially recognised until the 12th of April. Now, I did hear some rumours, not trying to speculate or anything, but the rumours were it was because there were some naughty individuals carrying out arts tests when we were supposed to be in a flipping lockdown. And it kind of carries on from our conversations last week. Elite testing, stuff like that. Do you really need to do an arts test in the middle of a pandemic?
Well, yeah, because you want to go racing when you can come back.
But then to be honest as well, I mean, we all know people that have had their tests delayed as a result.
Yeah, of course.
It should be a fact. Everyone should be treated differently. Now, the BRSCC as well, with their April events, went one step further than everyone else and cancelled their April events and released a statement. Now, Scott Woodwis, who's one of the top blokes at the BRSCC, I believe, or certainly to do with the marketing side of things. So he'll be able to, he probably put the statement together, but this is what they put up. After undergoing a lengthy due diligence process, the BRSCC have today made the decision to postpone our race meetings, which were due to take place at Cadwell Park and Snetterton over the weekend of the 10th and 11th of April. The club have made the decision only after careful consideration of all the information available to us, including and not limited to pre-12th of April government rules relating to overnight stays away from home and minimising the travel. Listening to the views of the members and commercial partners, some of whom have already informed us of their decision not to participate in these race meetings. Fair play, that's the club listening to its members. Fair play to them. The non-availability of ARDS testing between the 3rd of March and 12th of April, directly affecting numerous new members and competitors. And the uncertainties about the availabilities of marshals, race staff and co. So they do reiterate, though, they're a racing club. Racing is their lifeblood. However, the club believe that this difficult decision has been made in the best interests of our members, commercial partners, staff and volunteers. And they're looking to reschedule that. So, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the BRSCC, they were one of the ones that kind of started the ball rolling with the cancellations when they had race meetings in March done. But when you look at it, you kind of have to remember that they have shareholders backing their club, so they have to balance the books.
That's it. They've got it's a juggling act, isn't it? Someone somewhere is not going to be happy with decisions, but I think fair play to them. It's as mentioned, you're looking out for everybody. It's still quite fluid, isn't it? Although they've said bang April 12th you're allowed to go and do stuff, it's still up in the air. So stuff's going to get cancelled. And as we said previously, you've got to book these dates, because if you don't, someone else will. And I don't know, say the roadmap said a couple of weeks earlier, beginning of April, you can all go back to normal. You'd be kicking yourself if you missed out on those dates. So yeah, it's going to happen. Realistically, hopefully, end of April, May time, we'll be able to have a solid run of racing and various other things we can all go out and do in the world.
Well, yeah, certainly. And
let's get back to it.
Yeah, and you have to look at it on the point, and again, we've pointed this out in the past few sort of weeks previously. We are mid-March. We're barely into the year, and we could well be, well, I mean, Stefan, me and you and Nick are booked into race smack bang beginning of April. That wasn't the case last year. We were in the middle of a lockdown. Boris had just closed us all down last year. So you have to look at the positives. The vaccines are working for the vast, vast majority. So let's all be positive about shit.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Right.
Let's be positive, people, please. Let's try.
Let's try, for God's sake. To be fair, after what's been put on the pissing news...
This is purely vodka, I promise.
Yeah. After what's been put on the news the past few days, I think this is nice just for us to sit here rambling about various racing goings on. Because
I don't watch the news. What's happened? Actually, no, let's not go into it.
Oprah Winfrey gave an interview saying she didn't like the royal family. Liz must have said something awful to her or something, and Harry's in the corner giving it the big un and all this. I don't know. Something like that.
All right, Piers.
Huh?
I didn't realise Piers Morgan was on the show.
Oh, you want to play it like that, do you? Okay. No, I'm not going to walk off and then resign like him. But yeah, either way, we need to. The only thing that pissed me off about that interview was the fact that Meghan Markle clearly had an opportunity to talk about price rises in club racing, and she didn't do it.
No. All right, I see where you went there. That was good.
You know, she had the opportunity. She could have talked about the 750 Motor Club. She didn't. I was disappointed. What can I say? Anyway, Stuart Waite's joined us. Mario Neofitu, okay. It's a good suggestion. He suggested a Lenore bottle for certain things in the back of an estate car. Used to have one in the back of my RAC van back in the day, just in case. I hope it's not still in there. I really do.
I quite like it as long as you hadn't washed it out before use for the first time, and you would get a nice fragrance at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Steph, with your urine habits, you'd have to buy one of them jumbo bottles, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I think multiple.
What, the last 3 months?
We'll do a 6-pack.
Oh my God, I've just got this thought of outside Steph's van. There's just these full up bottles of Lenore just down by the back door the next morning. Jesus Christ.
Hey, you know what you could do? After the race weekend, stick them back in your cupboard and let the missus use the washing machine.
Just a vile man.
I'll tell you what, that is taking the piss. That really is.
Oh, terrible.
And Carl does agree, right? He says at least it will smell fresh when it's full. If it's a number 2, it would have to be a runny one. I should have proofread that. Jesus Christ.
That one.
Oh, God. Oh, well,
I like how the conversation's gone from
really serious club racing. Some events have been moved to turds in the Lenore bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, more comments, sensible ones this time. Jamie Goff, what's the first race for you guys? Right. Myself, Steph, and Nick are racing in TDC on the 10th of April at Donington Park.
Hell yeah.
That's the one. I'm doing a bit of testing on the 1st of April, and Stefan's doing some testing somewhere, aren't you?
Tested both cars on the 7th.
Bloody hell, that's close. What, are you at Donington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
shit.
We are.
That's hard. Fair play. Fair fucking play, Steph. That's hardcore. Okay, so that's Jamie Goff's question answer. Patrick Seal, okay, Piers, that's you banned. Jordan Honeybone. Jordan Honeybone, looking forward
Robert Lewis for Piers. Hashtag Robert Lewis for Good Morning Britain.
Oh, God. I couldn't do that. Just sit there and talk about mundane shit all day. I already do that every other Wednesday.
butter Ian up. I'm sure he's got contacts at there.
He probably I'll tell you what.
That's where he is tonight. He's doing his CV.
He's doing his CV. As soon as Piers walked off that set, Ian Waterhouse was on the phone. Have you looked at my supercar lately? Patrick Seal, Steph. Patrick Seal says, see you at Donington, Steph, on the 7th, where they're testing too.
Yeah.
Patrick, have you got a garage? Let me know if you've got a garage, because I couldn't get one. So I'll be pushing my money in the back of your garage.
That's what she said. Jordan Honeybone, looking forward to racing against you boys this year. Jordan Honeybone says, looking forward to racing against you boys this year. Yep, good luck to yourself, Jordan. He's in Class B with the Clio as well, so a bit of competition for yourself, Steph. Go over to the next.
That'd be way gone.
Stu Way, it wasn't Oprah, it was Ian Wright dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire.
I did see that.
That was good. I'm gonna leave that. Okay, let's yeah. Now the next bit of news, again a bit of positivity, but I've still got a bit of a bugbear here. Motorsport UK have freezed the regulation on the seats by a year. All licence holders have had an email at some point explaining all the do's and don'ts. But my number one bugbear, I looked on the Motorsport UK comments on that. Okay, now they've tried their best. We've had some gripes. That's absolutely fine. But they're trying their best. And there's still people going on there going, oh, I just bought my seat this year and I'm not going to get it. Well, you know what? They're not going to please everyone, but they're trying to. Just give it a rest.
Yeah. I saw it. Oh, what about harnesses? What about fire extinguishers? Oh, great. It's March. I've already bought my seat. Guys, come on. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
You two have got some lovely moany voices.
That's what she said. Spectator. Now, the best bit of news that eclipses everything. This eclipses everything, okay?
Yes, it does.
Everyone knows this because this, what people don't realise, this is going to start a campaign for the Club Racing UK podcast this year because we want to get people to go and watch club racing. And on April 17th onwards, as it stands, spectators are allowed to go and watch club racing.
Yes! Oh, can I just add in there as well? Can you go and watch an elite sport? No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. So if anyone's watching this and you're an avid motorsport fan who is still itching to go watch your BTCC, British GT, truck racing, etc., go and support your local club racing.
Absolutely.
Because you can go and watch it.
Exactly.
Half the price, better the racing. It's probably less than half the price. Better racing. More. It's easier to access, COVID pending, but you'll still be able to see lots and lots and lots of cars.
Exactly. But it's all right, Nick. Don't feel bad for the elite racers because they've been testing all lockdown. Moving on. Patrick Seals, Steph, we have a reply. Yeah, we've got a garage pal, so no worries. Got a very special guest instructor joining us too.
Sweet.
I have an idea who that. I have an idea who that could be, Mr. Patrick Seal. Would it be someone that was the racing driver on the Grand Tour? Let us know in the comments. Just an idea. Okay. Now, Paul has sat here absolutely patiently waiting to yammer on about various things going on.
So for the first 20 minutes, I just put a cardboard cutout there, and then I know you'll get it, and it'll be fine.
Fair play. And I know Graham Crowhurst is absolutely itching for you to get your claws into him. But before we do that, we have to play the guest video intro. Let's play it. Tickle, 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 tickle.
That's special, that is.
That is a special video. I mean, and again, we keep doing this, but for the audio people, that's basically an audio clip of me tickling Nick's beard. It's how he gets up.
Can I just say something, right? Is there any way we can play that video again? Because the last little clip, is that a Renault Clio having a proper little wobbly moment at the end?
Yes, that's Pro-Am Racing. Let's tell you what. Let's play it again.
Can we play it again? Tickle,
tickle, tickle, tickle, tickle.
round of applause, Pro Am Racing. That is
how
a mighty say
before in our own intro video.
It's Scott Thompson who was the driver of that. That's at Snetterton, turn 1, force end in the wet, and that is genuinely.
That's brilliant. How have I not noticed that in our own video? That is, as you can see, everybody, I pay lots of attention to this show. Oh dear.
All the work I put in and Nick forgets, bastard. Okay, before we introduce you, Paul, we'll just have some more sexy comments because Scott agrees with us about the club racing. Club racing provides amazing value for money and what you pay for the price of a ticket. Well, I'll tell you what, Scott, you'll be one of the first people I contact when we start this campaign to get people out club racing. We'll put some ideas for you. We will sort something out. We want this to happen so badly.
Yeah,
Jordan Honeybone has revealed that video clip was from his camera. That was mega. Where's our revenue for the footage? Jordan, I earn absolutely sweet FA for doing this podcast. We have no money, as you could see.
But thanks for the video.
Yeah, so all I could say was I probably found the video on the internet somewhere that wasn't grot, and I thought I would add it into the intro video. So, much love. And that was... That was Jordan and Ray Honeybone's Clio clip there. Give them a like and a follow. Why not? Chris Pearson of Sepia Photo as well joins us this evening. Right.
I think you missed a comment higher up, Rob.
Whereabouts? Where am I going? Where are we going?
Jordan said, we don't need instructors. Apparently we're rapid.
Oh,
I genuinely missed that comment. I do apologise. I genuinely miss that. To be fair, just do what I do. Just try and give it a head send. Try not to break your splitter off because I have a habit of doing that. And
try not to mow the lawn.
See what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. That's all I was doing, mowing Palmer's grass.
He doesn't like that, does he?
No, he doesn't. No, he did in the first. Jesus. Although there is 2.0 has been mounted onto the car with a lot better mounting points that hopefully you won't see get shattered into a million pieces this season.
Yeah.
Alex Neville actually...
Your co-driver's Nick.
Shit. I didn't think about that. Right, Alex Neville has a question for our guest before we introduce you. Hi, Paul, massive fan. Was wondering, what's your preferred gear to start a race in, first or neutral?
Neutral. I can tell you, it was one of my first races in the car that we're going to be talking about later. Donington Park, first round of Track Day Championship, second race, quite a long hold on the grid, stuck it in neutral. Yeah, forgot to put it in first gear and revved it. Thought, there's no bite point on the handbrake. That's interesting. And then thought, oh no, I'm in trouble here. And it's not a nice place to be when everyone else is setting off and you are absolutely static, trying to work out what's going on. Not a lot of fun. I think Alex was up in race control at that point as well, and I think there was a few expletives being thrown around from the various people in race control because it was not the safest of things to experience.
I've got a bit of a funny story, and it's a bit off topic.
Okay.
But I find it quite funny. A few years ago, we used to go to a proper sim racing place out Chandler's Fordway, and you had to qualify. It's pretty awkward, but if you went to events at night and stuff, if you were fast enough, you got entered into their main race once a month. And we'd done it, and me and a couple of other guys were fast enough, so we went to the main race. And you sit on your rig, you've got your headphones on and all that lot. And it was random grids though. There was no qualifying, so I was in P1. And you sat there, and you had to select first gear to go. And I'm sat there, tapping the gear shifter. Nothing, still in neutral. I'm like, what's going on there? Take my headphones off, and I'm like looking around at the organisers saying it don't work. No one's doing anything, so I was like, kept trying. Lights went green. Everyone piled in the back of me because I didn't move. Everyone stood up in their rigs, threw their headphones all over the place, and started proper screaming and swearing and shouting and everything because I'd ruined their race.
These people that ruin sim races are terrible. They're absolutely terrible things. I know someone
who's
who's quite good at sim
£1 million
racing.
worth of car. It was.
I know someone on this who
game.
is quite good at sim racing. There's this guy up in my corner here.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
There's something about that Graham Crowhurst spins across the front of Paul Harvey, absolutely no contact whatsoever, and gifts me a championship. In the to be honest, I have to give a massive shout out to Sam Pearce for doing this, because what it was a bugger around on Project Cars 2, a proper organised little championship. But what it's done, it's enabled me to make good friends with a number of other club racers, meet new people. It's kept our minds ticking over in what is, let's be honest, a difficult time for a lot of people. So thank you very much. And the fact I won it, was pretty chuffed with it, but I wasn't expecting to get that. So thank you, Sam, and thank you, Paul Harvey, for organising that. That was great fun. Big shout out to you.
Was you on controller, Rob?
For the record.
No, I was on my wheel. I've got a wheel rig. Do you want to? I will take a photo. There's something iffy going on here. Hang on, what are you trying to say?
What he doesn't tell you, Steph, there was only 3 other racers in there.
Yeah, no, 14 races. There's 14 races. There was Ed the student, who obviously spends all of his time pleasuring himself, eating pizza, and playing on his Project Cars 2. That's. You got another guy, Dave, Dave from the North. Dave of the North. He's a non-racer, but everyone else was either TDC, BMW, CCR, proper racers. Hence the fact that it got a bit serious, genuinely serious. And Rob Salter, I think it was Algarve, when we went to Algarve, he pulled over in the corner and just sat there, because you're not allowed to race quick, because we took points off if you did that. So he just sat in the corner and crossed the line in 10th or whatever it was. But yeah, it was properly competitive.
There's a glitch on the Algarve where if you hit the exit curb on the last corner, it spins you across the track. I ended up in the pits 3 times and finished last.
Set himself into the pits. It was magnificent to watch.
It was quite magnificent. And the funny thing was, at that point, I blew, I think it was a 75-point lead. I won 4 on the bounce and had a massive lead. And over 2 weekends, I absolutely blew it. And then it got to the last round. Graham Crowhurst has actually commented, Paul, I have this as latest information. He says, shit trophy, shit guest, sim racing is shit.
all I've got to say on the matter is the beast was tamed. He went in the wall. He's got to grow up there and get over it, hasn't he?
Yeah. Now, I've got to be honest, Paul. Ed Whitehouse says, Paul is an old bastard who came last most of the time. I think that's maybe in response to the student pizza box comment, but
let's just say that most of the competitors have said, "Could I go back to commentating next series?"
Okay, well, tell you what, let's stop mucking around and actually get on with today's topic. But first of all, we're going to catch up with Paul, our guest today. Now, the last time you were on, Paul, you were with G&M Racing.
Yep.
So it'd been this time last year. Literally, you were one of the first guests we had on the show, weren't you?
I was, I think, week 3 or 4, yeah.
Yep, so describe your 2020, what's happened since then, and describe your sort of future.
Sure, so 2020 was an interesting year. I'd say for everyone it was interesting. I kind of did a test early doors. So December 2019, my Civic got rolled at Paddock Hill Bend, doing quite a bit of damage. And I know we're talking about sort of why certain cars are popular, and I'll circle back to that later. But Sam, I know we use Sam Pearce quite a lot on here, but he's looked after my cars fantastically well for a number of years. 70 hours he put into that car, and it was smashed up completely. On the driver's side, nothing dangerous with the engine or anything else. Managed to repair it, get it back out for the March test and power run at Snetterton, and then obviously 3 or 4 days later we went into lockdown. So we weren't in any rush to get back out, let things settle, and basically just did some track days throughout the year. In the middle of the summer, I jumped into Toyota's racing saloons with the Super 2 Motorsport guys on an arrive and drive basis in a Fiesta ST 150, and managed to get 2 wins on the day. And that was the first time I'd shifted from 45-minute races into sprint races, and I really enjoyed that. And I think I'll be doing more of those moving forwards. And then I kind of knew that something was up. So as a thank you to Sam the year before, I'd sponsored him to do his arts test. Golden rule, never never pay for your mechanic to do his odds tests, because he gets silly ideas about wanting to go racing himself. Also, as well, a few months before, we'd done quite well, and I'd messed up on the last lap in the Track Day Championship race on the Brains GP circuit and lost the podium, and I was absolutely furious with myself. So I had to exercise the demons. On the Friday after that, I booked an open track day and said, right, I'm going to go down there and nail this circuit and get on top of it, because I've driven really badly. Sam happens to jump in the car and puts the car, what would have been P2 on the grid overall on lap time, outright in the race the week before. So already his interest had got sparked into the racing scene. Did his arse test at the back end of that year, and then after I'd done the TTRS races, we decided that between us, we'd let him have a go in the Track Day Championship race, which was in November, and then we'd share the drive in the Track Day Trophy race. I knew that things had changed between us when, after the qualifying of the championship race, a message was sent down from Parc Fermé, where Sam was in the car, asking me to get his Derezas ready for him so that I could put them on when he came down. And that was like a 180-degree role reversal, because he always looks after the car. And he even sent someone down to say, get the Derezas ready, mate. Put the Derezas on. I'm in the car.
Top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he comes down, put the Derezas on, absolutely buckets down with rain. So he comes and goes, I might have stitched you up here, mate. Yeah, I think you have. Yeah. And then the rest is history. I mean, you guys have referred to it. The Track Day Championship race was absolutely mega. You know, he went out and cleared off into the distance. We've done various upgrades on the car as the season went on, and that worked really well. And then we went out again on the second race and won class, and came second overall on track in the trophy race. So 3 races, 3 wins last year. So that was all right. I'll take that.
100% record.
Yeah, he definitely wants the trophy though. He won't let me have the shared trophy, and he won't pay 40 quid for another one. So he's nicked the trophy, so he's got 2 sitting on his shelf. And this year,
he's definitely a mechanic. Then he's a tight ass.
Exactly. Yeah. And this year, a bit of a change of tack. So Sam's building a Civic Cup car. Because he supported me for a long time, I think it's the right and proper thing for me to do to support him. Plus the fact he hasn't done his trailer test, so that's a bit of an issue for logistics. So being 48 years old and getting on, I've got grandfather rights, so I can drive the van and trailer. And he's building that to hopefully June we'll make his debut in the Civic Cup Championship in a full Civic Cup car. Which seems to be a really big bulging grid with the cup in the production class. I think it's 45, 50 cars registered already for that series.
Yeah, it's certainly had quite a revamp, hasn't it?
Yeah, so 3 or 4 races that I would normally race, I'm going to be supporting Sam. And then I might just do the odd arrive and drive, because the Civic that I had, I've sold to one of our friends to keep it in the family, because I just didn't really see myself driving it this year. And so it's gone to Tom Starkey of Green Star Racing. He's going to give me the odd drive, and I'll do the odd arrive and drive as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the circuit, but I think this year is going to be about working out the Civic Cup paddock and filling that out. And I think that spec racing, and that's a really competitive series. I'm really excited about getting involved in that. It's on the undercard for Time Attack rather, and it's also linked to a lot of shows, so like Tuna Fest and everything else. So coming back to your earlier comment about crowds, hopefully we'll get some good crowds, and that's a really good series that's kicking on again, because last year it was a little bit flaky and it's bounced right back. So really pleased and excited.
Yeah, awesome. That one has boomed, utterly boomed. There's so many people I've seen going over to the championship. So
yeah, I mean the cars are cost effective. I mean Sam bought his donor car for less than £1,000. He bought up a shell with a cage for I think it's about 3.5-ish with a proper cage in that as well. Really nice thing. Parts are a bit in flux. They're introducing some new parts this year, so it's opening up from just the one choice that you had previously. But I think for around about 15k for a fresh build, you're probably in the ballpark of a car that's going to be highly competitive. The ECU's absolutely standard for everyone, so they've got a map that they put on. It's well regulated. They've moved to Dereza tyres last year, so those cars are doing 54s around Brands Indy. They're quick.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned the Honda Civic, because we we're not quite moving on to our topic of discussion then. There's one thing I wanted to talk about first, but the Honda Civic Type R, mainly the EP3 Type R, is our first versatile and popular club race car. So we will come back to that. But just quickly, Paul, tell us about Icon events.
So Icon's something that I kind of thought about a few years ago, co-founded with a friend of mine, Jason, on the back of too many beers at a lot of ring trips, which are always great, you know. He's out in Dubai. So the idea is we're looking for premises in the UK at the moment. So if you think of a combination of, if you had a car club and you didn't have a HQ, you could kind of base yourself out of this cool place to hang out. Bit of Ace Cafe, bit of caffeine machine, all kind of rolled into one. We've got some great cars in our own fleet, so a McLaren MP412, Ferrari 599, Caterham 270R, Mini GP2, Porsche Macan. We've got an R53 Mini Cooper S, Steph, just for you, just to be the old 53s. And I think the two cars that I'm probably the most excited about are two new cars. So one is the Alfa Tipo 184, which is an old school recreation. I don't know if you've watched Wheeler Dealers, but Ant Adstead, who's on there, it's Dowsett Classic Cars. If you see it, it's a narrow-bodied sort of red thing with the outrigger wheels. And they're thinking of making that into a one-make occasional race series as well, which would be like mega cool. It's taking things back to like the 40s and 50s. This thing's beautiful, so have a look at that. And it is infinite wisdom because the prices in Dubai are a bit cheaper. We bought a back mono last week. So we're all going to scare ourselves senseless in that. So yeah, mixture of UK and Dubai. Cool stuff to do with cars, bit of track stuff, bit of road stuff. Nice place to hang out. And hopefully sort of share some great stories and some great times with people about cars. That's the plan.
Nice. That's why we're all here, isn't it?
Exactly. We all sort of have the same passions, and it normally includes four wheels and the steering wheel.
Yeah. I mean, if you see anywhere, whether it's a coffee stall or a great big venue, as soon as you get people that can share their passion of cars and see eclectic things, people gather. They just meet up. So we're just facilitating that. And Jason's coming back from Dubai in 12 months. He's been out there for about 10 years or so, and he wants to do something to do with cars, and it's been in the planning for a while, so we're going to give it a go.
Fantastic! I'm looking forward to certainly see that take hold and maybe pop down towards to Icon events for a few events. Because are you sort of looking to get a home base in the Dorset area? You were saying potentially.
Yeah, I mean potentially in Dorset area. So Jason's a Basingstoke origins. He's got a daughter up in Aberdeen, I think. So there's a discussion about whether it should be Aberdeen or the South Coast. South Coast sounds better to me.
Let's be honest, people. All the best people live in Dorset.
There you go.
Hang on, tumbleweed.
Hey.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't put it in Dorset.
Come on, please come down to Dorset. I'll be over every day.
You just know, Paul, if you do that, you're just going to have Nick at the window every day, just pouring to get in.
Licking the window, probably.
Yeah. Please let me drive your car.
Yeah. Is there any cars to drive?
Exactly. Well, fantastic, and we certainly look forward to seeing the Icon Events brand grow as it is already, with Ed Whitehouse at the wheel, certainly on the social media side of it. So we'll keep you updated over the next year or so.
Yeah, if you want to check it out, it's at Icon Events on Instagram, and Ed's done a great job of getting up to just under 1,000 followers in a couple of weeks. So good things to come, good interesting content, and if you think it's boring, let us know. We'll put something more interesting on. Simple as that.
There we go, fantastic. So, guys, today's topic is the versatile club race cars. And why are they so popular? Now, I'll be honest, I did a bit of sleuthing, or rather, I was bored and was looking through TSL one day, and I found about 5 or 6 cars that I thought, bloody hell, they keep coming up. Now, okay, it's probably going to be the one question that everyone's going to say, duh, well, it's quite obvious. Well, okay, let's look through the most popular. And I guess we'll start off with what is arguably the most popular car in club racing at the moment, and it's the Honda Civic. Simple as. Normally an EP3, one of those bad boys. So they're Civic Cup spec. I had a little browse on Marketplace. You can pick one up for between 8 to 12 grand, ready built. Obviously, that's the Sam Pearce Motorsport prepped car as well that Sam and Paul drove to several wins last year that Paul was just on about. And if you want a modified spec car, you're looking at about 8 grand onwards. Now, Paul sent me a list the other day. I'm not going to name them individually because we will be there for absolutely fucking years. But that car is eligible for 21, give or take, championship series. And by eligible, I mean that car can enter its relevant class and be competitive. So you can buy one of those cars and challenge for trophies. And at that point, last year, in 2020, even with the shortened year we had, 16 series, that car won either overall or its class last year.
Yep.
That's astounding. And you look at the stats on it. So it's a 2-litre VTEC, obviously rice burner, K20, about 200 standard, would you say?
198, yep.
Yeah, 198.
Yeah.
And you're looking at up to 100, 240, 250 easily with the bolt-on parts. Slight tweak of the map. Endless parts supply, the tuning upgrades. You know, you look at the likes of Tegiware and all the Japanese manufacturers that come in with their various tuning bits. And to be honest, have you ever looked at a tin top series that hasn't got one in?
No. And you start to see more and more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been around the track day scene for years, and they're just migrating into racing away from track days at the moment.
The problem is they're easy, aren't they? You as we just said, you literally buy a car, you bolt bits to it. You know, you're not talking full engine build. You haven't got to go mass throttle bodies and standalone management, this and that, to get a fast, well-handling car. You literally just buy it, put an intake on it, and you know, a loud exhaust because it's a bit of Jap scrap, so you've got to have a massive, loud exhaust on it. And away you go. It's fast. I know this because I got to spend most of my time in the classic touring cars looking at the back end of these things.
Yeah, very long.
No. After the first 3 corners, they were 3 laps ahead. But
and I think the thing about it for me was I'm really simple and have got really no patience or tolerance for cars that keep breaking down. Anyone will tell you. I mean, I had a 330 Challenge car, and on the first day it leaked petrol because we filled it up, and obviously for the race series it had never been filled up, and the gearbox went, and it was sold before I left the circuit. First day I had it on track. So I've got no patience, and I bought back this Civic that I'd sold in order to get the 330. But just to give you an example of why, so last year, Snetterton did 9 30-minute sessions in it on a track day, and then stuck it on the dyno for the day. Brands Hatch test for track day, 325 laps of Brands Indy short circuit. 3 weeks later, another 265 laps on a track day. 4 weeks after that, 283 laps on a track day. Then after that, in the rain, we did 210 laps on the Thursday before that race weekend. Still on the same set of rear tyres, still on the same set of disc and pads because we had bigger AP stuff. And all we did was top the oil up, and we had one issue where one wire got caught on the radiator, and that was fixed. And it did all of those laps. We'd literally put it on the trailer, spanner check it, everything was fine, fill it up with fuel, send it back out again. It's like a Terminator, those things. And that was running 245 brake, around about 219 at the hubs. Yeah.
And they rev forever. They literally do 40,000 RPM just all day long.
I think my red line was like 8,750 or something like that. Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Bevan comments. Obviously, he's got the DC5, so he's same engine, different, and he's basically put. And I've heard this as well. So it's cheap to about 260 horsepower, and then costs a fortune for every 10 horsepower extra. Now I've spent. Okay, not meaning to sound like a knob, but I've spent a fortune on a 2-litre Z-Tech, and I've just got that to 200 horsepower. So I'm still going to be behind the K20. Nick, the same with your Vectra, your 2-litre. You're going to have to spend a fortune on that to get it near to Honda standards. So that
So my aim at the moment, obviously, Mr. Justin is building my engine at the moment, Mr. Vehicle Tech Mobile. plug. We're putting bigger pistons in. We're doing this. We're doing that. It's getting, it's got Genvs ready to bolt on it. Spark Developments are going to put an ECU and everything in it for me, and I'll be happy with 210 brake. Yeah. Still nowhere near a Honda Civic.
And we did our upgrades in stages, and every time we went through each stage, you put the stuff on, and it just works. It just went again, and we went out and we did a whole day again. The moral of that story is don't ever give Sam Pearce your car with a full tank of fuel and say to him, "Come back when you're ready," because he will stay out for 70 minutes. And at one point, he actually had a passenger who was texting me saying, "Please call him in. I'm bored now. I've been out here for nearly an hour."
I like that. Fantastic.
Okay, just for the record, who was your passenger? Because anyone who is bored for an hour going around a racetrack probably shouldn't be sat in your passenger seat.
I think after about 55 laps of Brand Indy, I think you can say that you've had enough.
To be fair,
But his defence was, you didn't tell me to come in, you just said keep going. So fair enough.
No, fair enough. I mean, Phil Neal comments as well. I mean, you guys have heard Phil talk about his days at TGM Sport, building EP3s and DC5s. They did all the Crevitec stuff with it as well. All levels of racing, easy to set up and work with as well. So again,
it's well built. They're well built. You can't deny. And let's be honest, reliability is key.
Yeah.
So
to any racing,
even if you didn't bolt anything to a Honda Civic, as we've already said, it's 200 brake standard. That's still quick enough for a race car that handles well. Yeah. And if it's going to go all day long, what's not to like?
Yeah. I mean, I think
we're all about saving money, aren't we? We're all about cost-effective racing.
I think Civic Cup production class and the Type R Trophy, sub 10k cars, and just run forever. A couple of small models.
And you never need to buy anything for them.
No, just keep going.
Exactly. Well, tell you what, chaps, as a little treat for you, I've put in the script that of a Civic Cup broadcast that I found. So hopefully we've got that video. If we can just play that.
He's going to have Deegan to his left side almost immediately, but he's going to defend valiantly into Old Hall. Lewis is still going to be there in third place. Alistair Camp trying to come around the outside. He's on the grass. Get it back together, Alistair. On board with David Buki, that is Reason trying to get on the inside of Hobson, down into Cascades. Oh, he's nudged him! Hobson going sideways! Oh, the two battlers in race one come together and just about avoid it. Taylor's gone off on the grass, Bailey's got past us as we charge down towards Island Bend. But Reason and Hobson very nearly took each other off of the circuit. Lewis!
Oh, I was just getting good.
Let's grab the podcast. Let's go watch that.
Oh no! To be fair, if you do want to have a look at that, they have the full broadcast. I think that's from the 2018 or 2019 season. It's up on the Civic Cup Facebook page. But again, if that's what we've got to look forward to, but with 40 odd cars, I'm looking forward to Civic Cup this year. And again, it shows get all those cars together, spec racing. It's a formula that works.
To be honest, it's exciting. That there is what people go and watch the BTCC for, because it is close, door to door, loud, shouty race cars. Yeah.
I mean, I think they run them really twitchy at the rear end, so they're lively. You can see them sending them into the last chicane at Donington. They're literally almost sort of sending them in backwards, rally style sometimes. And I think some of the other footage, if you look at any of the footage, there's five abreast going into the turn at the end of the Wellington Straight at Silverstone and not touching each other as well. The driver standards, people like Lee Deegan and that, they're proper drivers. Rob Baker and the rest of the guys at Area Motorsport, they've got some serious talent in that field that can hold their own in any series, and it's highly competitive but very clean. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and like you said, the only thing with sort of multi-class racing as well is generally the Honda kind of comes into a field of its own. I mean, I looked at one, I think it was 750 Hot Hatch last year before they tweaked everything again. I think the top 15 cars were all Honda Civics. All Honda Civics. I mean, they're tweaking it again this year, so they're looking to get the other cars in, which, to be fair, it's it'll probably be a good thing because you don't want championships like that turning into another Civic Cup because it can kill off championships. But again, it just shows how good the car is.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw one in there, though, before we go off of the Civic. They're not the prettiest looking cars. I said it. And I know there'll be comments about my taste in cars. I don't give a shit. I'm a fan of a big saloon. I'm not a hatchback fan. I'm not. They're not the prettiest cars. The Civic Cup cars look quite cool with the big splitters that look proper, unlike Ford Focuses.
I don't like the new one. Or the new one.
Oh, no.
Or any of them. The EP3 is probably the last one.
I don't know my Hondas very well, but the model before the EP3 I prefer.
Yeah. The EK in championship white.
Yeah, that's the one. That's a pretty car, but I don't know.
I mean, Mario's commented as well, and this is about the engineering side. And to be honest, you could kind of say that about Japanese. So, no disrespect, you can't compare a Honda engine to a Ford or a Vauxhall engine. The quality engineering in a Honda engine is incredible, and that's coming from someone who isn't a Honda fan. That's fair enough, because I can get that. I think you look at Japanese stuff, when they build their sporty stuff, it's very bespoke, but they can do bespoke on a mass-produced scale, if you know what I mean. It's a bit more finely tuned because Nissan have done that in the past as well.
I don't think we're comparing the quality of engineering. I think we're comparing, you can buy that car with that engine and you can go where you buy any other car. Well, you buy if we are using them as comparison, you buy a Focus or you buy a Vectra, you've then got to spend a ton of money just on the engine. Well, you haven't got to do that with the Civic.
Which, and it's a very good point, Steph, because we all sit here now with our, hindsight is a wonderful thing. If I'd have thought about it, all the money I've put into the Focus, I could have bought a properly sorted EP3 or even an FM2. But I wanted to go I like Fords, so I'm one of those Ford fans. Nick loves Vauxhall. Nick just loves race cars, but Nick saw a challenge in the Vectra Challenge. Yeah, you saw a challenge in the Vectra Challenge car, and it was something different. But
it's just if you're someone wanting to go racing and be cost effective, that is probably your best route. Yeah. If you love a car and you're destined to race a car you love,
and that's why I did it. I'm not a massive Honda fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't got enough of the tan.
With his Adidas t-shirt on.
Adidas Motorsport, thank you very much.
All right.
Much more middle class. I'm not a massive Honda fanboy. I mean, I loved that car and what it did and what it stood for and what it was cost effective. But I'm fortunate I can pretty much race what I wanted to. I've looked at M3s, I tested radicals, and worked out that I could pretty much run a season in the Honda and get it to a really competitive standard for the price of 2 or 3 weekends in a radical. The difference was night and day. And I got away from Hondas and keep coming back to them because of all of those things that we've said. Reliable, simple, quick. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the EP3 shape, but a winning car's a pretty car, isn't it? I think they say so. It's highly competitive. I love the sound of it when they're revving and stuff. They're pretty cool, but. I went for one because of all of the reasons that everyone would go for one for. I'm not necessarily an EP3 or a Honda fanboy. It's just a great bit of kit for club racing.
Yeah. And to be fair, Nick, Maxine Nichols has joined us. Good evening, Maxine. She does make a good point. Nick Holmes loves other people's race cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does. And incidentally, if you are looking to get a driver in your car...
Yeah, well, I haven't got a race car. I haven't got a race car at the moment, but I'm pretty sure I should talk Sam Pearce into letting you ever go with his EP3 at some point.
Like you say, I will drive anything that is race car related. I love all race cars. I'd race a milk float if the opportunity was there. I would.
He told me specifically not to offer.
I just like racing.
He said to me, whatever you do, don't give Nick a drive in my car. Don't offer it. Don't mention it. Just tell him you haven't got one. Get rid of it early doors. Just get the conversation about can I drive your car out of the way. Just say I haven't got one. Sorry, mate.
I haven't got one. Yeah.
There we go. I mean, to be fair, if someone came and asked for my advice, I've got this sum of money. I want to buy a ready-built race car. If he came up to me and said, I've got about 10 to 15 grand, maybe a bit less, I'd say get an EP3 Type R. If
Wait,
he
wait,
came
wait.
up,
Wait.
what?
For the record, there is 4 other cars on this list we're covering.
There is, because if he then came up to me and said, I've probably got between 5 to 8 grand, I would tell him about the next car on our list, which is, of course, as we go to the Chateaux of France, the Renault. No, I can't really say it. It's got Valentine.
No, you've got to do it. You've got to try it.
Renault. Go on.
The Renault Clio.
Oh, yes.
The Renault Clio. The 172, the 182, and the 200 has started to really creep into racing folklore. And funnily enough, we go back to Paul Harvey, because wasn't that your first race car?
It was my first race car. I said I've been through a few cars, and I get bored quickly. And I had an EP3 track car, same reasons as before, with carbon bits all over it, which was pretty nice. And I decided to go racing. And the best way to do that was to go for a 182. So I bought that from Dave Hitchin, who was already in the Track Day Trophy and had got podiums. Paid $4.5 grand for it. Spent very little on it, apart from some new tyres, and got Mark Fish Motorsport just to go through the car, and went racing with it. I think the difference for me between that and the Hondas is you can get more power out of the Hondas with bolt-on mods. I think that the 182 is much more limited in that regard. But it had cheaper tyres and brakes and everything for 15-inch wheels and tyres and OEM calipers. I had AP brakes on the other car. So, all that kind of stuff. I think the big thing for me was just the question mark over the gearbox on the 182s. They can be prone, if you put diffs in them and stuff like that, they can be prone to munching through a few gearbox. But to be fair, these are all road cars converted for track use that are never really designed to take it, are they? So, they're a great car. And I'd put them cost-wise probably broadly in a similar bracket to an ST150, which is probably on your list as well. But they're a great car and can be competitive in sort of those 200 horsepower brackets.
Mm-hmm. For the record, for those, I can beat them in my Vectra. I've done that.
I remember that.
And they are prettier. They are a prettier hatchback than the Civic. So.
Yeah,
they are. I mean, not to take the piss, they are certainly a cheaper option to the Rice-Mobile. It's a good for me. That would be a good starter option.
Rice-Mobile. So, see that? To be fair, I would have bought if someone had said to me. Actually, everybody said to me, buy a race-ready car, and I went, nah, I know what I'm doing, and I don't. I should have gone and bought something like a Clio, because I've driven. Actually, a friend of mine owns a 182 Trophy. My mate Harry, and that thing was hilarious fun. He's done a fair bit to it, but hilarious fun car to drive.
When I bought it, it was $4.5 grand, and it was turnkey go racing. Everything was in date. Yeah, it was just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I should have done that.
Andy Pointer actually comments on it. He's bought an X750 Motor Club 182. They're superb fun, easy to drive, engine's bulletproof, gearbox shits itself.
Yeah,
can't say fairer than that. And to be fair, guys, I mean, as well as the sort of standard, I mean, a K-Tech Clio, right? Again, I had a look on the marketplace. You can pick up a K-Tech spec, and that's the Clio 182 Championship Series. You can pick one up for between 5 to 8 grand, which to me is good value. And like you said, you pick
very good value.
Paul picked one up for 4.5 grand, so that's even better. And if we just bring up that third picture there, Elaine, in the background. Sorry, I'm looking at my other screen here, but. There we go. So you look at a car like that. Now, that to me has been extensively modified. It's probably potentially got some ex-Clio cut bits on it. So there is scope, to sort of modify them and make them better, as we've seen. You take the picture down now, Elaine. Thank you, mate. There is scope to modify them and make them better. I mean, we had one on our stand as well. Tony Hunter's one.
We did. That thing was.
Yeah,
Nick
Gwinnett's as well. They absolutely shift, and they've, which proves that you can get a car like this. And again, it will be the same with the Civics and the other cars we have on the show. You can get a small basic package like that, learn to race it, build it up, make it great again without wearing the old Trump hat, and go racing even faster.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Scott Thompson's one, the one that was sideways in the footage at the start, they had really developed it with proper aero. Pro-Am Racing have set up a website to get some really nice bits that they're making for it. He's an F1 engineer and stuff, so he knows his stuff, and they're really pushing it. And you can take it as far as you want to. I guess if you want big power, then that's not the car for you. But it's like 1,000 kilograms or less, around about 180 brake at the fly, aren't they? So they're pokey, and they're going to be competitive in that kind of 150 bhp per ton bracket.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's basically what I'm up against in TDC this year in Class C. I think it's basically 3 of those Clios and a Z4. Nick's rubbing his hands together.
I'm coming for you. Oh, I'm going for it.
Yeah, there we go. Just wind him up and send him, Loopy.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna go win some trophies.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Carl Hitchin as well. Again, sorry, I completely missed that, Carl. He won the Bark Saloon Championship 2 years running in a Clio 182.
It's Clio 182.
So there we go. And David Garside says the 750 Clios are nicely controlled too. No silly expenses. I mean, I think they basically run off a control ECU, a control batch of bits. And look at their grids. 30, 40 plus cars again. Yeah.
I mean, traditionally I've run in multi-class championships and races. But the attraction of spec racing is really coming back to people, I think, because you haven't got to keep thinking, 100%. As I did, I'm going to do another 20 horsepower because I want to be at the top of my class. I'm going to do another 20 horsepower because I want to go up a class and I don't want to be at the bottom of that one. So the BMW Compact Series, the KAs, all of these kinds of things, spec racing is on the up big time, I think.
100%. Because if you can put people in a field of cars that have all roughly got the same chance, go for it. Don't get me wrong. I can live and learn. The first series I ever joined with the classic touring cars, massively underappreciated just how bad I was going to be in that, and should have done my homework and found somewhere where my car would have best suited, because that series was a matter of if you've got enough money to pour into your car, because it was just a 2-litre series, so you just
and that's fair enough.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be able to develop your car and make it as fast as possible with very limited restrictions, fair play. But that unfortunately wasn't for me.
If you come back to the Civic a little bit, the Area Motorsport one is sequential box, 300 brake off an NA, battling with M3 E46 M3s. You can take that sort of stuff as far as you want. I just think everyone's just thinking about things a bit differently, and close competition is what it's all about, and you'll always find in the spec series, you'll always find someone of your ability or pace that you can race with, but equally you can win outright. Anyone can win a race in a spec series. I mean, it's easier.
Yeah, Stu Waite comments as well. I won the 2014 production BMW Championship. 5 people went into the last meeting and could have won that championship.
Yeah, brilliant.
So, spec racing. And again, it's coming back because people are looking more towards bang for your buck. I mean, if the day ever comes I decide to sell the Focus or strip it down and sell the bits off, the next race car will probably be something in a spec series. Rob,
don't sell it. Sit it in your garage. It'll appreciate and it'll be worth millions.
Yes, very good. Fuck's sake, we come back to this again. God, you called me Piers Morgan. You're the one that are twisting words, mate, I tell you. Anyway, talking of Fords, we now go on to our third choice on the list. And I do make a point with this one because I actually sat on the phone to Sam Pearce the other day, Paul. He brought up an old Track Day Trophy and Track Day Championship grid, right? Now, we've been through Hondas and Clios. This was the third car. Now, these 3 cars made up 3/4 of the grid. And it's the Fiesta ST 150, which Stefan... There we go. So there's a selection at the front of the Fiesta Championship. So they have a few one-day sort of one-make championships going as well. I think there's more photos on there. There's another. So that's Kester Cooks that's running in Track Day Championship at the time, or it might have been his old car. And then you see the yellow one in the background, and there's that handsome chap fresh from his wins last year.
It's him again.
Yeah, so I mean, I just fancied trying some sprint racing, and the guys at Supertune sort of said, "Give Toyo Tyres racing saloons a go." Yeah, I really enjoyed the paddock. A really eclectic mix, Z4s. I mean, one of the cars that isn't on this list potentially that is a forgotten car is like the old E30. They had a whole class in that race. M3s out the front. You know, well, I mean, you can pick those up for $3,500, $4 grand now. You know, those
what a car.
Yeah. And I went and had a go with this Super Tune, Paul Hatfield's car, which was really nicely prepared. Didn't have all the bits on it. It was still a bit of a work in progress. But if I was to go back to car ownership, and I think I'll probably stick to a ride and drive model because it's much easier and I can just turn up and go away and be a superstar and all that kind of stuff in my own head. not in reality, just in my head, and just, you know, drive out in my nice comfy car and not have to do all the stuff about parking and putting the van away. I'd get a 150. And if you look at the championship grid that you guys are going to be on in the Mini and the Focus, pretty much Class D is almost exclusively ST150s. It's almost like the Fiesta ST150 Championship now. There's loads of them. You know, blow an engine, 500 quid, gearbox. You can pick one up off eBay and go around the corner and get one 5 minutes later. Get your stuff at your motor parts places, really straightforward. And I think price point, they are absolutely tremendous value. And I didn't have any less fun in that than I did with another 50 to 100 horsepower in the other car. You know, I'm really rate it.
And again, it falls into that nimble chassis. It's only 150 horsepower from a standard Duratec engine, but it's nice and light. And you'll be pleased to know, ladies and gentlemen, that our very own Stefan Marsh had one as a non-track queen.
Yeah, it was a show pony.
I was building it to do track days, and then I had to sell it to fund a Ford KA race car.
And you haven't
I sold my ST150 to fund a Ford KA.
Yeah, depressing.
That'll be a story to tell your grandkids, mate.
Yeah.
That'll be on the cover of his book when he's older. Stefan Marsh, I sold my ST150 for a KA.
It was a pretty little car, actually.
I think
it never went anywhere.
Yeah, it was very well looked after.
Car shows.
Well, yeah.
Did you see how shiny it was? It had to go on the car show.
Yeah, true.
There we go. Now he's a track queen, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we have got a promotional video to show you as well from the BRSCC stable. This is their new video for the Fiesta Championship this year. If we can just play the tape.
Sorry. Oh, that was a banging tune.
Getting his rave on.
Nick was just busy raving there. So again, you know, third car of the night, and it's got a single mate championship it falls into with close racing. But if you want to modify one, I just so happen being involved on the Modified Fords WhatsApp group. There's a Fiesta ST150 that's having a 2.5 Duratec shoehorned into it. Everything bespoke made suspension-wise, everything rose-jointed, you name it. That'll be pushing 300 horsepower with a full sequential gearbox in it.
I've seen one with a Cosy YB in.
Yeah, there's several that do that as well. There's some. So again, there is scope as well. I didn't actually mention this really with the Honda Civic as well, but it has a bit of a following. It's part of the, you know, it kind of falls under the Ford umbrella, so you'll get a bit of a following with it, as do the Type Rs as well. So that kind of appeals to a new audience. Again, trying to get the crowds into club racing, appeal to the tuner groups, and go, look, you can go racing.
Yeah. Come race cars.
Go
So all of those three cars, they all can fit into those 20-odd championships. You know, the Civic, the 102, and the Fiesta, all find classes in 20+ championships. You know, you can pick up an ex-Fiesta Junior car, which is likely to have been crashed at some point because they haven't actually got any imagination. Young people, have they forget how much it's going to hurt if you crash. They can't think about that.
They bounce. Kids bounce. That's the problem.
Yeah. And they've got things like ASTs on them, and you can pick one of those up second-hand for $8,000-ish, something like that, fully specced. You know, just jump in, and it's got a better cage because obviously they're looking after the age group and everything like that. They're a great value car.
Fantastic. Just back to some comments quickly. Phil Neal makes a good point. Keep your eyes peeled for the Solar Motorsport Mark 7 Fiesta in that series this year. I know Gareth Broadbent's making the move to the Fiesta Championship in the blue car this year, so we'll see how he gets on.
I do like them.
They are lovely. Jonathan Bevan, proper power from the engine with up to 400 brake horsepower. Is he still on about the K20?
I mean, well, if you look at Kester CRUK ran a Fiesta, and he had it on low boost, and it was top of Class B in championship and trophy races.
Just
so it's got a good car, I think.
Ask Steph what state his pants were in after the Ford Fair show at Castle Combe 2 years ago. Pure Ford, sorry. Bloody Ford show, I don't know.
I'm not actually too sure. I'm pretty sure he cranked up the power in that thing for lies. That is a quick car.
To be fair, I think he had switchable maps because he was doing Super Cup at the same time, wasn't he? Some races he would be Class S and some Class B. Yeah. So I think he turned it up to 11 in his Spinal Tap tribute and cranked that shit up. It was good.
That thing is awesome.
And he
got out the car with a boner.
Oh
yes,
yeah, Kester can pedal. Certainly, Kester can pedal. Mario Neofitu, I was working at Ford when they were developing the engine for the ST150, and they had to really restrict it with mild cams and a crap ECU. Otherwise, it would have rivaled the ST170. The problem is the ST170 is too bloody heavy, and they really pegged that back as well, but we won't go into that. Ford didn't want that, of course. But the thing is, the Duratec engine is really tunable.
Is it?
With decent cams, yes. And it's...
Yeah, see, you're talking money. You're talking a lot of money.
That's it. You're in the realms of cams,
not really
ECUs, and throttle bodies.
I know. It's to be fair, it's one of those. If I knew what I knew now, I would have taken the engine out of a Fiesta. I'd have taken the Duratec engine out and put that in the Focus and had the same work done to it because I would have got more out of it. But
if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have got involved with racing.
Shut up, you tart.
He bloody. Yeah, he would have done.
Though, wouldn't it? It'd be good though, wouldn't it? If you could come back knowing what you know now.
Yeah, it's that magical. It's that magical pill you could. Yeah. We all want a. Yeah, we all want a time machine. Right, Jonathan, I do apologise. I missed your earlier comment. Calm down, dear. He's getting a bit stressy in the comments. I think the new Civic. I think
Jonathan
the new.
Bevan getting stressy?
Yeah, I think the new Civic will be the EcoBoost Fiesta. We are running one in Time Attack. Yeah, fair enough. Proper power from the engine up to 400 brake horsepower. Phil, of course, has said, Gareth ran his in Time Attack at the time, so you can get some serious, power out of them. And it was an EcoBoost, forged bottom head work with Garrett turbo, kept letting go after 370 brake. To be honest, I think with Gareth, there was a bit of an issue with the state of the engine work actually carried out in the first place, but we won't go into that. But yeah, that could well be one for the future. But we come across that later in the show. We must move on because we are dragging past our time. We've been on air for an hour and 20 minutes already, lads. Fucking hell.
Oh, I know. If someone tunes in right now and they hear us talking about bloody Fords, fucking hell, we're never going to the end of it.
I know. Now, for the fourth
Joking,
one...
sorry, Ford fans. Sorry, Ford fans. Don't shoot me.
Yeah, you're dead now, Vauxhall bitch. Anyway, our fourth car on the list you will quite commonly see in front of hairdressers, and about 2 million of them are racing on the UK Club Circuit Tour at any time. True
At
facts.
once, I think. Yeah.
True facts. Yeah, the MSA carried out a survey, and in one weekend with 5 MX5 championships, there was about 2.5 million cars racing in one weekend.
It was.
That is not an exaggeration. They're fucking everywhere.
It's not absolutely no exaggeration whatsoever with any of these figures.
So number 4 on our list is, of course, the lovely, venerable Mazda MX-5. And why pick it? Front engined, rear-wheel drive. It's a cute little thing. Look at it. It looks so happy.
It's the closest you're going to get to a proper go-kart, isn't it? I'd love to have a go in one of those. I just don't think I'd fit.
You just look like a dick, yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Just
Total honesty.
But
Not
I
at
do
all.
really want to see you sat in one with your helmet on.
Well, cool.
It
I
looked
look
like
really cool.
it looked like a hairy turtle.
If you have an MX-5 and you would like to see what a hairy turtle looks like sat inside,
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have to race it. I just want to see him sat in it in his race kit, just to see how stupid he looks.
So I think they're great, and if you're going to go into rear-wheel drive and you want to learn racecraft with competitive racing, they are fantastic. The only thing is, every time I see them, I just think, I ain't driving one of those in the rain. I'm too old.
I'd love it. I absolutely love it.
Don't want to get wet.
That would be great fun.
That would be great fun. And of course, it's, again, on our list, it's got a single make spec championship. I think there's about 5 different championships for the Mazda MX-5. So you can pick the cars. I think I've seen Mark 1 Mazda MX-5 Cup cars for about less than $5,000 even.
Yeah.
I've even seen them for as low as 3.
I mean, even the newer top-end Super Cup cars are 10-ish, 10, 11.
Yeah.
They're not silly money.
Yeah, and that's actually seen as a bit of a feeder series. You know, when you have the Top Gear test driver Abby Eaton winning that Super Cup championship and go on to do what she's done, you've got to say that it's a good category to feed.
And to be honest, as much as we joke about the 250 million of these that are currently racing in the UK, there's a reason. There's a reason why there's so many of them out there, and there is a reason there is so many different championships and series to accommodate them, because they are bloody popular. They are bloody good little cars.
Yeah. A friend of mine raced in the SR3 Radical series. Can do a whole season in MX-5s, and he's got a very nice MX-5 race-winning car. He's a good driver. He can do a whole season in MX-5s for the same as one weekend in the SR3 series. And he's not having any less fun. And he said that it is improving his racecraft and his driver skill more so than in the other series. So, you know, just doesn't mean that you have to go for the fastest, sexiest, most expensive thing. It's race, and it's competitive, and it's rear-wheel drive, and they're cool. Yeah,
Shoeway makes a good comment as well. Abby Eaton actually went on to try and do V8 supercars. She did. She raced in the Super 2 series at the Adelaide 500. Incidentally, if you do like your podcast, she does talk about that on the Spinning Wheels podcast. It's a really good listen. Phil Neal also makes a good comment.
He's getting another podcast in there. Good shout out.
No, it's just really enjoy listening
hopefully they'll return the favour, won't they?
Yeah. We can only hope. Phil Neal actually does point out that the Mark III MX-5 does have a Ford engine in. I think it's the same Ford engine that's in the ST150. I think it's the Duratec. I'm gonna have to look up on that. But again, about 150 horsepower. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a car that weighs what, 800-ish kilos, 850 kilos.
Probably even
one. You'd have to rip a lot of crap out to get it done.
Sorry, not the new one. But again, if you're talking power to weight, what's a Mark 1 MX-5 1600?
About 5 kilos.
Yeah. They float away.
Yeah, literally float away. So that's the Mazda MX-5. So the last two on our list is going to have a slightly more German feel about it. Now, the last one on our list we're going to come to Stefan for, but beforehand, we're obviously going to comment and come back to Paul Harvey, because once again, Paul had one. and that is, of course, that is the BMW 3 Series. Whether it be a 320i, a 325 or a 328, And then you go up to the big boys, the E36 M3, E46, and even the E92 is starting to creep in too. And I will say, top end of Club Series. You've got cars there that are 328s. You've got cars there that are 325s. And as you can see, they're holding their own. Now, if you want a 325 or a 328, you can probably pick a decent race spec one up for between $3,000 to $5,000. Not even that. Maybe 8 top end.
Yeah, they're good cars.
And again, front engines, rear wheel drive.
Yeah. All the best people drive BMWs.
Yeah. I mean, I did E36 M3 with the 3 litre. Loved it. They're not the cheapest thing to run and maintain, although they can be very reliable. I just got concerned about smashing it up. It was too nice to race, in my view. You know, I wasn't getting anything out of it, and I was being too conservative with it. So Keith, who's probably listening in, we went out for a track day. He's kind of like my cousin. Went out on a track day and he absolutely loved it. So I sold it to him to go back into a race car. And he subsequently put an S54 out of an E46 in it. So for me, the ultimate track day car is an E36 with an S54. I think it's going to take a lot of beating to get past that because of the weight and the fact you still get the power and torque out of the bigger engine. I think the E92s are better at the higher end, but they're heavy beasts. You know, you're not going to get them under about 1,500 kilograms, and they're going to eat tyres and discs and pads for club racing. They're a punchy account.
And let's be honest, the S54 engine at full chat, is there a better sounding race engine out there?
No. Although to be fair,
if you go the route of V8s, yeah, but honestly, listening to one of those absolutely screaming,
say that. I think the best sound, if you go onto YouTube and you look at British touring cars around 96 and go for an onboard in one of those cars and just listen to that gearbox howl.
Yeah. Oh, what? Yeah. What? You mean the old E36 touring cars?
E36 touring cars, 320. I had a full-on crisis when I heard that.
Yeah, I think there's a video of it going around the Nürburgring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 328 variant, I think, is a great club racing car.
Yes.
There's a rear-wheel drive, good balance of power, don't pay the M tax. You know, they're really good. They handle fantastically, nice and light. Yeah. I think they're a really good proposition. And you do see them in some of our championships. When they're sorted, really well sorted, they clear off. Noticeably quicker.
Thing is, you've been pretty vague with this one, Rob, in the fact that you've got BMW 3 Series. Obviously, there's so many different variants, and again, they range from.
Why I picked it. That's why I picked it. Because there are so many out there. I mean,
I'd say the most popular one is probably the E46 M3, but they are obviously not cheap.
Yeah, they're not cheap, and of course, as we know,
they are pretty. That is by far the best looking car on our little list here.
You know, there are two BMW championships that cater for a vast variety of them, but you've also got the production BMW championship that caters for the old 320s. Don't forget as well, Paul mentioned it earlier on, the Compact Cup. That's full of the old compact cars. Okay, they're a little bit lower powered, but we have seen them go off, branch out into the likes of 750 hot hatch into the lower classes and win them.
Spec series again, though.
Yeah,
got another spec series for it.
Yeah, and they can go into power to weight series. And again, you know, I don't know if he watches the podcast, but Sam McKee in his 328i, he's not scared to tell you what he thinks. But his car, he's got it to a good position on a very good club race budget.
He's in TDC this year.
I think he's in a few series with a few people. He's sharing the car with a few people. Yeah, he's sharing it with a few people. Fair play.
He's got Rob Dowsett with him again, hasn't he?
Yeah, so they're doing
Rob.
Yep, so they're doing Class B, aren't they? And then I think he does road sports as well. But again, you know, that's a 3 series that's
Well, it's won races and stuff, and I don't think he's done a great deal with it.
Yeah, that's won races, and the production, you know, the production BMWs as well. They're getting a bit of a revamp this year. But back in the day, you know, Nick had a crisis when he saw the videos of the spec racing going on there, because he loves, you know, you love an E30 BMW, don't you?
I love an E30. I am a sucker for an E30.
And you saw how close the racing was.
I wish I'd never sold mine. I used to have one and I sold it.
Yeah.
To some Irish guys. I should have never done that.
Matt Cleary's asked, do you have a slow, cheap car as your first race car?
Yes.
I think it depends. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Do you know what? If I could go, talking earlier about going back and racing, I would have started in the KA.
100%.
Learn your racecraft. Because, I'll say it now. I've built the Vectra. Obviously, everybody knows my Superstar Vectra. And it really knocked my confidence when I was so bad with the people I was racing because I couldn't afford to spend lots of money on my car. People were flying off up the road. I knew it was kind of going to happen. And then it got me thinking, actually, am I actually any good behind the wheel? So buy a cheap spec car, one make series, like the ones we've listed above, and learn your racecraft. You then know if you're handy. If you're at the back of a grid of spec cars, no offense to anybody, then you know where you stand with it.
But then we've all got to start somewhere. I mean, when I started in the 05s, it wasn't fully spec, but we had a certain, and and unfortunately with my car that was big and heavy, I'm not exactly the bloody lightest, am I, guys? But I was up against Clio 182.
You're a supermodel, Rob.
Exactly. Now, those podiums that I got, and I'm really fucking
Stephen's got really upset with that comment, Nick. You can't go with a supermodel with old spiky hair boy there, can you?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, but he always gets the limelight, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm not supermodel. I'm just boy band. Yeah. Cheers.
Backstreet's back. Anyway. But yeah, do you know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah, it's the thing is, Nick, and I know I say this to you constantly, but those trophies up on the bookcase, I fucking earned them because I drove my absolute nuts up at Liddon Hill and went, and I was developing the car for that series. We were all trying to get onto a level playing field and mix everything up, and I earned it, and I learned my racecraft. And it was brilliant because it was a production-based series. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out, the series eventually went, which is a shame. But yeah, I think that car, when I built it, probably owed me about 7 when I built it. And I've spent a lot more money on it since then, as we all well know. But yeah, I kind of agree. It doesn't have to be properly slow and cheap, but a cheapish formula. Certainly don't spend anything above 7 to 8, really.
What you tend to find is, the question was about for a first car. I don't think it has to be cheap. It doesn't have to be a first car. I think you find people go up through the ranks and think, actually, I've spent a fortune on this. I've enjoyed it. I've really embraced everything. And actually, what I'm looking for out of my racing, I can achieve at a much lower budget and start drifting back towards the lower end. And everyone's lower end is different. So, I do think people come back. So it's not just for a first car. I think it's close racing is close racing. It doesn't matter how quick you go.
Yeah. Thing is, I saw a thing on Instagram earlier from a guy I follow. He's quite an inspiration. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was saying it doesn't matter what level you're at. Fun is fun. If you're I don't know, a top level Formula One driver, if you're out there having fun in that, you probably have. If you could measure fun, you probably have just as much fun in a Ford KA or a Fiesta ST150. Fun is fun. If you're having fun, it doesn't matter what you're in.
You might even have a little bit of wee in the end of your willy at the end of it.
Yes.
Surely.
Exactly.
Well, no, surely it won't be still in the end by the end of the race. It would have come out by then, and you would have weed yourself.
Right, we'll move on from the BMW. I just want to go back to some comments because they have blown up a bit, actually. Scott Woodwist, the best one is a video of a BMW Super Tourer from a Dutch supercar race at Assen where the gearbox just screams, prepared to say goodbye to your eardrum. Yes, that's the video. That is pure pornography. You have
to watch it with headphones on.
You do.
Turn your volume to max. Press play with headphones in.
Mario Neofitu comments as well. He's put several comments down. The E92 V8 engine is very fragile. Ray West does a lot of bottom ends on them. Yeah, I have heard that as well. They like to spin bearings, I'm told. Patrick Seals eyeing up Maxine Nichols for an arrive and drive an MSV Super Cup. Watch this space.
He's using our comment section to make a sale, we see.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does look
now. What does he know?
Maxine's also offered for him to come and play in the MR2, so we're looking at essentially the club racing version of wife swapping.
I am going to start charging commission soon for this.
Exactly. Mario also comments, my 106 GTI was cheap and fast, getting very rare now, and the Saxo VTS. Yeah, because they've either been blown up, crashed, or just ruined. But he was mental that year. And to be fair, you can read this comment. You can verify this comment. I'm not just saying this. He put, Rob, you were awesome at Lydon. Respect. That was bloody hard work because I had to keep Mario behind me in both races. That was...
Yeah, but doing that is cheating. You're not allowed to move more than once.
Yeah, that was hard work. That was a good weekend.
Yeah. Braking on the exit isn't fair, Rob.
Huh?
Braking on the exit isn't fair.
I'll tell you what, on the last couple of laps...
the professionals do it.
Yeah, because my fuel pump started to fail in the first race, so that literally happened at the top of the hill. The car would cut out at the top, and the Clio that was following me, I lost second place on the last lap because he nearly went into my arse. Because the car would just...
Newsflash, Ford having a problem mid-range. Newsflash.
I went through about 4 fuel pumps that season. It was awful. It just ate them. Okay, right. Let's go on to it. We're getting pressed for time here. We've been on air for over an hour and a half now. So let's visit.
We've learned, Rob, the people that are still here watching and listening are our avid fans. Anyone who has got bored and buggered off, so be it. And it makes for a great podcast for long journeys.
I'll tell you what, if you are still here and watching us, we love you to absolute bits. And Nick actually has a shout out that he's forgotten.
Hit that like button.
What? I've got a shout out.
You have a shout out to someone tonight, and you've forgotten.
I haven't forgotten. We just haven't got to a point to mention it because we're still talking about cars.
Okay. Do you want to mention it now or save it until later?
Let's. Well, we still got one more car to cover. So cover one more car. And then we might say happy birthday to someone.
We might say happy birthday. Mario, and again, you can verify this in the comments. Rob is the cleanest driver I've ever raced against. There's the proof. And he is the pre-5 champion. He is the Oh, no, not the Brands Hatch. No, I was too busy mowing. That was an awful week. By the way, Stefan, I didn't know if I told you. You're on my modified Ford calendar. I can't see your legs, though. Can't see your legs. You were wearing camo.
You can see the bottom half of his legs.
Yeah, you can see the bottom half of your legs.
Calves.
Yeah, I'll show you in a minute anyway. Anyway, we're going to go to Stefan Marsh Corner because as we've covered on the podcast in the past few months, Stefan and Matt Hibbard, the third racing driver in the KA for Club Racing UK, are taking on a new adventure this year in a BMW Mini. So, Stefan, what the fuck made you do that?
Well, we wanted another car to go racing in, a bit faster than the KA. Matt had plans at the time to. He's got a Nissan 350 and needed a bit of work doing to it, so we had plans to buy another car that we could turn into a race car that he could use as a daily. And then I found a Mini that was pretty much ready to race, so we went and bought that instead. Which turns out I don't think is a good idea. If I could go back again, I would find a standard R53 Mini and then build it myself, because buying a half-built car, all I've done is chasing my ass the whole way through it, repairing everything that hasn't been done properly. But, you know, it is what it is. So that's why we bought it. Well, also, we both wanted a supercharged car because superchargers just sound awesome. And the Minis are pretty cheap and they look like fun. They look awful, but they look like fun.
Oh, no, I don't think they do. I think they're quite a good-looking car.
They are when they're beefed up.
Yeah, when they're beefed up and they're racing, they do. Not driving around, they look terrible on the road. That's about it.
Surprisingly spacious, I may add. My wife
it is when you take all the seats out.
My wife bought one, and I'm fitting it quite nicely.
So come on, so you're sort of obviously we've covered the mini challenge, so we'll move away from the single mate formulas, but yours is more modified. So what have you done to the car?
Well, the car when we bought it, it's I've been told it's pretty much the old spec Mini Challenge, the R53 version.
Okay.
So the head's been ported and polished and slightly bigger pistons and supercharger pulleys been reduced, 4-to-1 manifold, all that type of stuff. different map, everything like that. You know, cage, suspension, the whole shebang. So ours is pushing about. Well, we just had it on the dyno at 240 at the fly, so it's doing all right. But you know, again, we bought it like that. So if we're going back to like cost and stuff, that would have cost a ton of money to get that done. And again, you know, fucking fucking radiator is so hot.
Oh, I love it. Oh, nobody who's listening to the podcast is going to get to see that reaction.
No.
That was so funny. That was classic. Well, if you are listening to the audio version of the podcast at a later date, Stefan is off to the Burns unit after this.
Yep.
And it wasn't because we've roasted him over his hairstyle or constantly needing to pee. Right.
Hey,
so
this
I
is
mean,
good. He hasn't got up yet. And it's been
no, you haven't got up yet. Stefan,
I
see a
think this is a
doctor, mate.
record.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stefan, see a doctor, mate. That's not normal.
Good.
Or put a cold beer on your elbow.
Yeah, cold beer on your elbow. So, I mean, to be honest, BMW Minis, I do see them quite often as well. Again, spread across quite a few.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. So what makes them so popular?
I think because they're now quite cost effective to buy. They're a lot cheaper than quite a few cars, but then I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because reliability wise, I don't think they're that good. They're very awkward to work on. Their parts are quite expensive.
You're really not selling this car, mate.
Well, you know, but they're popular, aren't they?
You're a terrible salesman.
You've got the minis now on the British touring car scene.
Yeah.
So that's just making them popular. So people want to. I mean, they're great cars. They're so much fun to drive. That supercharged one when you're just cranking it is awesome. And it sticks like glue. I mean, a lot of people say they get very twitchy on the rear end. I mean, I haven't experienced that yet, but maybe I'm just not driving it hard enough, or we've got an awesome setup, or I'm just good at driving. Take your pick.
I know which one. I know which one I'm going with.
But you know, I think that's
for all your
so
needs.
Yeah, I mean they light. Ours is getting weighed on the weekend, so I can tell you exactly what it is after the weekend. But
yeah,
they're still quite heavy cars. There's a lot of crap in them. So, but you know,
they're as Rob pointed out the other day, they're that age bracket, aren't they? Where a lot of safety features got added and a lot of strength got added into cars, so they are quite weighty for the size of the car,
especially with the side impact stuff. There's so much crap in the doors nowadays as well. It's just
but they're cool little cars.
They're so cool. I think it's probably the super. It's the supercharger. I think that drags everyone to them because it's just awesome.
You can hear yours and Matt's car coming a bloody mile off. I'd love to
see how many times we have to service that in a year because that is a nightmare of a job. So if it's multiple services in a year for the supercharger, then I think we'll bin it off and get something else.
Fair enough. And although to be fair,
the whole front end of the car apart to get it out.
You know, to be fair, Steph, just think, you know, you don't have a horn in racing, but if you're in traffic during an endurance race and they can hear you coming a mile off, and they're thinking, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's just Stefan, and he's just there in the mirror.
That's what it sounds like.
I should have put a video up so we could have a listen, but I didn't.
Didn't think to. I did ask if you had any.
You said pictures.
I said pictures, but you could have said, "Oh, Rob, can I put a video up because my supercharger sounds sexy?" You know, I'd been like, "You know what, Steph? Absolutely fucking not."
I didn't. There's a YouTube video though. Just go on the Car Racing UK YouTube page, and there's an onboard video of it on there.
There's some top quality pornography on there, automotive pornography, by the way.
No. Yes.
That's what I was getting at. Anyway. Calm down, Nick. Fucking hell. We got to try and. Yeah, don't worry. There will be no nudity from me this week.
But going back to the minis, the R56 is a bit more expensive, the turboed version.
Yeah.
But the Mini Challenge do sell parts for them direct from Mini Challenge, and I've had the price list, and the price lists are actually quite reasonable prices.
Okay.
So. But I've heard the R56 is less reliable than the R53, so, you know. Whatever you fancy.
Okay. Well, the last thing.
If you own an R53 or R56 and regularly race it, let us know the kind of cost.
The gearbox should be right though, because it's the same gearbox as Rob's got in his car.
G-Track. G-Track 6
It's in a Ford.
I know. It's just a German gearbox, mate. It's just is what it is.
I think to be fair, mine's a G-Rag, whatever it's called, Get Rag.
Yeah. So right. A little debate before we head on to the competitions and wrap up the podcast. So we've gone over what cars are most versatile. So that's our list. If you disagree with it, don't care, but put some comments up.
Just quickly. Just debate time, as you say. Get your comments in for any cars you think we've missed. Or
think we've missed, but the same, cars we've missed. But what cars do you think should be out there that aren't?
Vauxhall Vectra. 100%.
I was trying to be serious, but that's kind of killed that. Okay, I mean to be honest, I'll put one up there straight away because I have seen them in Track Day Championship, but I've rarely seen them elsewhere, and that's the Toyota Celica T-Sport. The Toyota T-Sport range, 190 horsepower, out the box, same as a Honda, very revvy. To me, with a car like that, why aren't they full of them?
Yeah, those 7 Motorsport prepared cars are really good. Those Celicas, they got big wing on the back, nice splitter, get nice and light. Naturally aspirated. They're at the front in Class B and Class C, the championships that you're running in. They're actually really good cars, and 7 Motorsport prepare them really well. But I'm surprised I don't see more of them, to be fair. Yeah,
they're good-looking cars as well. Actually, that shape of Celica, I don't know what shape it is, but they do look cool.
Yeah. Ed Whitehouse comments as well. Cater and Westfield are low cost, loads about with a following, and they fit. Yeah, to be honest, as well as the single make championships, you see a fair few of them in kind of CNC heads and stuff like that. So they get a bit of a out there. They're a little bit popular, but again, they're a bit special, aren't they? You have to have a bit of an acquired taste. Certainly, if I was in that field and I've got a caterer next to me,
you wouldn't see it. It'd be below your door line.
Yeah, bit.
But they're. The thing is, our list, we've gone with what's the most popular. We put our little post up, and literally every post was Civic, MX-5, Clio, blah 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 blah. But we know there are tons of cars out there.
Tons of cars.
Even the likes of single seaters. There's not a single seater on our list. But,
the F1000 is the most.
F1000.
Yeah, we spoke about it. So myself and Nick spoke about it earlier. We did get a message from Sarah Fraser. So a big shout out to you, Sarah. Thank you for messaging. And
happy anniversary to Sarah as well.
Yes. Happy anniversary to her. She can't tune in tonight. She's got the wedding anniversary. But the F1000, you can race that in F1000, or you can go and do Monoposto series. And it's, it's a spec series, specific control parts. You don't have to spend the end of the earth, and some of the other stuff in a sort of Monoposto.
They're faster than F4s.
Yeah.
Those Jedi, those F1000s, they're like faster than Formula 4 F4 stuff. They're bloody fast.
Yeah.
But, you do have to pay a little bit more for stuff like that. So if single seaters is your bag, there's tons of options out there for them as well.
Yeah, there's a couple more comments. So Russ Harding, who's on the Racers Lounge, of course, Paul, he's put BMW 130i.
That's a good show. I suppose you don't see more of them. Race guys are looking at bringing a few in, and they were competitive in championships we were running in. Rear-wheel drive, naturally. So
what if you went BMW 1 Series as a whole? You got the BMW 116 trophy. Good-looking series.
Yeah, but again, I think with that, it's the power side of it. Take that car out of the series. Would you be able to take that elsewhere and be competitive as a more versatile car, if you know what I mean? I know they're working on a more powerful package, aren't they?
Yeah, I know Jez and the 4040 lot are working on taking their 116s, not out of the BMW 116, but I know they're making a package for the road sports, aren't they, and things like that. So.
Yeah.
Do you think they've run quite well in the lower class and like the Track Day Championship? So running against the Fish 150, they should run with them quite well.
Wouldn't be far off them, surely. Yeah.
The enemy of the 1 Series is the weight, isn't it? They're not a light car, so you need torque and power to get them going down the road.
Fatness.
Yeah. But then there's lots of parts that come over from M3s and stuff that bolt straight on. So I am surprised you don't see more.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will say the Graves 130 or 135, 130, whatever engine size that thing's at. The Graves one is bloody awesome. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a 130. Yeah,
it is a 130. Yeah.
Cameron's commented as well, mentioning a Buckmore Park. We are coming to that. I did put it in the news, but I've deliberately saved it for the end because it's something that needs a bit more awareness as well. I'll share the hell out of it. But, we'll come to that at the end, Cameron. Don't worry about it. Nick Jackson, they've got an R53 for an arrive and drive. He says it's an awesome little car.
Yeah.
We're jumping it when ours blows up.
Yeah, Stu Waite, modern production BMW as well. I know they were developing a 1 Series for that as well. Patrick Seal. Adam Chamberlain, Vauxhall Vectra Challenge Love.
Yes!
Thought he'd like that. BMW, Patrick Seal, BMW E85 86 Z4, lighter, cheaper version of the E46. Don't see many on track, and they're not to be underestimated.
Yeah, I think there's a Z car series, isn't there?
It's not really picked up though, is it?
No.
I don't know if it was just the weekend that I was on track with them, but they seem to be quite a handful to keep in a straight line. So I don't know if that's the drivers or the cars, to be fair, based on the race that I was in. But yeah, they do seem to be a bit edgy.
It's a shame because that's got the potential to be a very good looking grid. Z3s and Z4s are pretty nice looking cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we're racing against one in Class C, Nick, so...
Well, we won't be. We'll be up the road, mate. We're going to be rapid.
Nick Holmes, humble as ever.
Yep. You ain't beating us. No, you probably will, because Rob will bin it into some grass.
I will probably bin it and rip the splitter off.
Nick will crash it into another car.
I'm gonna say it now, and I'm very surprised if it hasn't. Oi.
He could. When it's on the starting grid, it could hit the car in front with the splitter, couldn't it? So
yeah. Exactly. Well, let's be fair.
He would have already parked the splitter under the car in front.
Just lifts it up. Although to be fair, I have at least all of you have seen pictures of my new mounted splitter. It's not that bad. So
no, it's not as bad as the last one.
Not as bad as the last.
Going back to cars we've not mentioned or cars you think you would see, I'm surprised it hasn't been mentioned, and I can't see comments. If it has, I apologise. MR2s.
You do see them about though. They've got their own series.
I'm not a fan of them, but I know Mr. Stefan Marsh is and Mr. Matt Hibbard are. They look awesome. Don't get me wrong. They look cool. It's a great looking series.
Yeah. I mean, the standard 2 litre have got a great series, and of course for the Mark 3s as well. The sort of more modern versions, but you don't see many T-bar turbos being raced. I mean, yeah, probably because of
it's like the whole RX-7 Skyline thing, isn't it? They've just gone through the roof.
Retro powerful cars. Yeah.
Syntax.
Yeah, Chris Pearson. I'd love to see a Nissan 350 370 Z series. That'd be quite good.
Well, ask Matt about the Z series. So, for the record, was it when we first started the KAs, Steph?
Yeah.
So Matt and Steph, it was their first time ever racing. They were getting all excited, and then Matt saw Z cars on the list of cars that were racing. So he was like, "Oh my god!" because he owns a 350Z. So he was like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing!" And he turned up, and obviously it was BMW Z cars, and he was massively disappointed.
I remember that because you guys deliberately didn't tell him, did you?
No.
Nope. We knew it wasn't 350 and 370Zs, but he did not.
Exactly. Right. Okay. At this point, then it's time to come off our debate. So
Any comments?
Thank you very much, guys. I mean, the only there's 2 new comments. Sorry, they've literally only just flashed up.
Oh, there you go.
They've only just flashed up. Okay, Phil Neal, RS200s. There was only 200 of them built, mate. Most of them are rallying. I love an RS200, mate. You know that. Classic Ford, but you won't get a circuit full of them. They're just too chuffing rare. It would look so fucking cool. The turbo lag would be... Can you imagine the turbo lag off the line? Just crawling at 30 miles an hour. Then the turbo kicks
53, in. It finally kicked in.
And they go from lap 53 to lap 70 like that.
Yeah.
Unreal, exactly. Mario Neophytu, isn't it funny that nobody has mentioned a Volkswagen considering they invented the hot hatch? How times have changed. Very true.
I started in a Mark II Golf. It was my first ever race.
You look at, apart from the Mark V production GTI series, the Mark IIs have sort of dwindled a bit because they're starting to turn into a classic.
Yeah.
So the Mark V production GTIs have done quite well. The classic VW Cup has sort of had to merge with other cities. It has struggled a bit. I don't know that there's a big VAG following, like in the tuner world, but
yeah, but unfortunately, you can't have massive cambered wheels and
stretched tires.
Stretched tires and walk around vaping all day.
Why has it not crossed over so well into the racing scene?
I don't know, Steph. I think that's one thing we're going to have to investigate when we try and get crowds back to club racing.
Do you know what? I am not going to a VW show to encourage people to come watch racing. That would be hell.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, Nick.
Stu, wait, you absolute legend, because I was just thinking this as well. Toyota GT86 series like the one in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's good racing. That's good
Those
racing.
Really disappointing cars.
Yeah, but I think they're going to be one of those cars that becomes a popular race car in the next few years. Prices are coming down. Rear-wheel drive. I think the boxer engine, sometimes that disqualifies them from certain series for whatever reason, bizarrely. But I think they're going to be, they're coming down into that price point now. I think you're going to start seeing them as the next MX-5 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can stay dry in that one, Paul.
Lovely, thank you very much. Perfect. Where do I sign?
Exactly. Yeah, that's certainly one to look out for, and I think Paul is now going to scour eBay to start buying them all up, ready to convert into race cars and sell them on.
Well, most of the people in the Racers Lounge have worked out that when I am working in London, the best time to get me is normally on a Wednesday or Thursday night when I've been out with customers, had a lot to drink, and then they start sending me various shortcuts to things on eBay to buy. And it's cost me a few quid. I've got very, very close to buying some very expensive stuff with a few beers inside me. Once on the train and lockdown's open, we're there.
Yeah, Paul, did this include a certain Seat Super Copa that they were trying to convince you to buy?
Yeah, they did a good job of it, in fact. And an E46 M3 I ended up bidding on, trying to drive a bargain on that one as well. And it ended up with 3 cars in 2 weeks on drunk eBay roulette. Yeah.
Oh man, how the other half live, eh?
Yeah, I like the Super Cobra. I think that's a proper piece of kit.
We'll see Paul Harvey with one in about 6 months' time.
Yeah.
But is it a club racing car? Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. No, sorry, I was thinking of the TCR cars. Ignore me.
TCR cars are not club racing cars at the moment. They're national series cars, but they will be club racing cars when they become a bit more affordable, like the Seat Super Copa has.
Yes, sorry. I was thinking of the wrong car then. They are cool cars.
And there is another podcast in that I have wrote what is considered club, but that's going to be covered in the summer as well, because there's a lot with that. Okay, with that, let's play the video for competitions.
Woo, competitions. There you go.
Competitions. Right, before Steph goes in with his £300 challenge.
Yeah.
I just want to big up. He's a good mate of ours. Okay, Phil Neal He's been a bit of a psycho. He's cycling, off-road mountain biking, London to Brighton. He's doing 75 miles on the 4th of September. All the proceeds are going to the British Heart Foundation. So if you've got a few quid, go to Solar Motorsport, go to Phil Neal's page. I've posted up a link as well. I posted it up yesterday, and I think Nick might have, or was going to. I'm not sure. Click on that, donate a couple of quid. He's a really nice lad, Phil, and he's doing this for charity. So,
just as well, can people advise him it is far quicker to drive?
I know. I did say that. But no, fair play.
He should know that.
A lot less effort.
It is a lot less effort. But to be fair, he's
top bloke.
He's a top bloke. He used to do it, to be honest, it is cheating a bit with Phil because he used to do it professionally. Got sponsored by Rockstar Energy, for Christ's sake, to do his
but he used to. Yeah, but that's slightly different bike riding nowadays, Rob.
Yeah. The only thing I have said, he's going London to Brighton, so he is going to need a lot of Vaseline for the chafing. But yeah, the links will be on the page. Phil Neal, Solar Motorsport, on my page. Nick's posted it up as well. Just give him page. Just go on there, even if it's a couple of quid. All goes to the British Heart Foundation. Big love. Stefan, take it away.
Awesome. Lovely. So competition, still same one. £300 off your most probably first race entry fee of 2021. All you need to do to enter is head to the website. I'll be down there in a minute. Go there, become a member. £2 a month, £2 a year, whatever you fancy. To win your chance to win, you're automatically entered, and the draw will be in 3 weeks. Well, it finished in 3 weeks, and then we'll let you know when we're going to do the draw. It may be on the podcast.
There's the picture.
We may just do it. Someone else.
Oh, look at that! Magic! I should have done that. I should have gone.
Looking grid. So 300 quid. Easy, free money.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Come on, guys! It's a free race entry. Well, it's not free. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you £2 or £20 for the year if you really love what we do. You'll also get free priority posting. It's not free. You'll get priority posting. You'll also get access to all our discounts, which is over 30 plus different companies offering us awesome deals to make club racing cheaper for you. So, what is not to like?
Perfect.
I sold that well, didn't I?
Sold that. Let's see if they come flooding in
now. Right, last of the comments. Maxine comments that obviously Patrick Mortel of Rogue Motorsport, he's been doing some Toyota GT86 stuff, so she's just letting him know that we're talking about the GT86. David Garsard says about 10 years when they'll be cheap enough to go racing. And to be honest, like you said, Paul, I think it'd be less than that, maybe even 5. Oh, hang on, I thought I clicked another page. What's my internet doing? And Nick Jackson agrees.
Like he's got a mohawk. Look at how Steph's sat right now.
As we can just see at the moment, we're crossing to the unicorn. Steph?
Rob, I put a post up earlier on the paddock page. We're just really interested at the moment to find out everyone's opinion on what would their optimum team number or race driver number be for the Burkett 6-hour relay race. So how many drivers would be your perfect strategy to run 6 hours in a Burkett relay, whether that be 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, 10, whatever, but whatever you feel.
I think 3, 4, 5, 6, and how many cars you'd run, etc. Please let us know.
It's about the cars, because you could, if your optimum number is 4 drivers and you're going to take one car and share one car, doesn't really matter. Just what would be yours, Paul, to run a 6-hour race?
I think probably 4 cars, 4 drivers. Depends on the fuel size, obviously. Maybe 5. But I think 4 on 4 is pretty good if you can get the duration out of the vehicles and switch over a proper relay.
Yeah, we've got an exciting concept coming up. So let us know, please. And,
thank you, everyone.
Be good. Yeah, be good.
Okay. Well, if that's every other business, is that about it for anyone? Any more shout-outs, things you want to say?
Yes.
Nick?
Firstly, you've not mentioned the Buckmore Park bit.
Secondly, no. Yes.
Secondly, we teased on a certain someone's birthday, a regular listener and a massive supporter of Club Racing UK, Mr. Craig Abbott. I want to say a big happy 50th birthday, mate.
Yeah, happy
No,
happy 60th, mate.
Well, he said it's got an O at the end, so I'm assuming, judging how he looks, it's 50, 60, 70 odd. I don't know.
To be fair, I put a pound in and said 60, and I think Steph said 70. I'm not sure. Not sure. Could have been that way.
I just want to say, right, this is the second episode we've done now that he's made a terrible excuse to not be watching, and apparently his 40th birthday, bless him, is a good enough excuse. I don't know. I think he's on his last warning now. I think it was his anniversary last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was his anniversary.
UK ban for just ignoring the podcast.
Yeah. Well, no, we won't ban him because he's probably our only fan. But
either way, mates. Hope you have a good birthday. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Mate. I know I certainly get a lot of messages with love and support and ideas from yourself. We do appreciate it.
And he's a fellow mini owner as well. So
he is. I tried to put him off it. He didn't listen.
Well, if you didn't put him off of it, you've definitely put everybody else off of it this evening, Steph.
8,500 followers of this podcast, or whatever it is, just sold R53s.
Yeah, that's it.
We picked up the Honda so much, there was no point, really, was it?
Yeah, to be fair, I think we did pretty much just say buy a Honda, didn't we?
Pretty much.
I'm going to close. Okay, it's on a slightly sad note, but I'll start off actually just by saying good night to everyone. Thank you very much. Just listen to this last segment because this could be the start of things to come, and we need to rally round and support these people. So good night to Stefan Marsh and Nick Holmes. Thank you, as usual, for being brilliant co-hosts. Paul Harvey, thank you so much for coming on. All the best with Icon Events.
Thanks, mate.
Now, during the week, the news came through from Buckmore Park, a famous car circuit that looked after the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, and they pulled out a pretty horrific statement, which is quite worrying and potentially a sign of things to come from certain areas. As many businesses prepare to reopen their doors after this lockdown, it is with great sadness to announce they won't be doing so, for the time being anyway. Buckmore Park has been closed now for over 200 days since the pandemic began, and like with many businesses in leisure and hospitality, that's caused them huge financial strain. We've been grateful for the grants available to us, but as a larger venue, they are ineligible for many of the early financial support that the smaller venues were able to access. On top of that, they haven't received any insurance payouts for business interruption, which they and the Supreme Court believes they should be entitled to. And as a result, they've had to make redundancies, dramatically cut costs, and it's, obviously a sad time. So the recent speculation is that they are under serious financial strain, so they're going to have to restructure. And you know what? It would be absolutely fucking criminal if a place like Buckmore Park closed. So if you have any spare time, you want to organise a day out with your mates, you want to go and do something, why don't you look at their website and look at doing a day out at Buckmore Park when it opens again? Because I tell you what, that'll probably be the best day out of your life. And if it gets a mate into motorsport, 100%. But we can't let places like Buckmore Park closed. Because at the end of the day, boys and girls, that's our grassroots. And we can't let the grassroots go. Simple as.
No.
We are meant to be the best motoring and motorsport country in the world. And we can't be if we let places like that go down. It's as simple as that. They need our support. So
let's help out where we can.
And that ends the podcast. Thank you very much, guys. Have a fantastic evening. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.